Welcome back, guys, to our DSA challenge series. In this particular phase, we are looking at the questions based on hash maps and sliding window. So let us see our today's question. Our today's question is longest consecutive sequence. So let us see today's question. The question says, we are given an unsorted array of integer nums and we need to return the length of the longest consecutive element sequence. The main thing is we must write an algorithm that runs in big O of n time. So let us understand this question with the help of an example. The nums was given to us 100, 4, 200, 1, 3, 2. Longest consecutive sequence means elements one after the another, like 1, 2, 3, 4 is the longest consecutive sequence in this particular vector nums. So our answer will be 4. Similarly, in the example number 2, we were given the vector nums as 0, 3, 7, 2, 5, 8, 4, 6, 0, 1. So we will see the longest consecutive sequences 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these elements are present from 0 to 8. So the longest consecutive sequence becomes 9. The length of the consecutive sequence becomes 9. So one approach can be we can sort the array and then we can find the elements. But to sort the vector, the complexity will be n log n. So we cannot use that approach because we have to write the algorithm which runs in big O of n time. So we will take the help of a set data structure. So let us understand this question with the help of the code. What we did in line number 4, we have initialized n with the size of the vector nums. So int n equals to nums dot size. If the size of the vector is 0, we are directly going to return 0 because if our vector does not contain any element, so the sequence will also not be there. So we will directly return 0 in this particular case. Otherwise, see what we are going to do. We are going to make a set data structure, an ordered set int s. We are going to make a counter variable cnt and we are going to initialize it with 1. This counter variable help us to store the current consecutive sequence length. Similarly, we are going to declare a variable longest. In this variable, we are going to store the maximum consecutive sequence length which we have to return. So at the end of our program, we are going to return longest, in which we are storing the maximum consecutive sequence length. After that, what we are going to do, we are going to traverse through the entire vector for int I equal to 0, I less than and I plus plus. And in this way, we are going to insert the elements of our vector in the set data structure. S dot insert nums at the index of I. So in line number 16 to 18, we have inserted the elements of nums into the unordered set S, which we have declared earlier. Now what we did, in line number 20, we have initialized a variable x with 0. This variable helps us to keep the track of the current element which is being processed. So right now, initially, we have initialized it with 0. After that, in line number 23, what we are doing is we are iterating through the elements of the unordered set. Once we are iterating through the elements of the unordered set, we will check if s dot find a minus 1. For consecutive sequence, what we need is whether if we are checking for 5, if our values of a is 5, so we will see whether 4 exists or not. If 4 does not exist, that is s dot find a minus 1 double equals to s dot n. It means that a minus 1 do not exist in our set data structure. So in this case, what we will do, we will reset the value of counter. Cnt equals to 1. In counter variable, we are storing the length of the consecutive sequence at that particular instance. After that, we will update our x value of x to a, which is our current element. After that, we will check. We will apply the while loop for counting the consecutive sequence. How many elements of the consecutive sequence are there? So we will apply the while loop while s dot find x plus 1 is not equal to s dot n. We will keep on incrementing the value of counter and updating the value of x equal to x plus 1. So because if the value of x is 5, we will check whether 6 exists or not. If 6 exists, we will increment the value of counter to 2 because 5 and 6 are there. And we will update the value of x to 7. Now our variable will check whether 7 exists or not. If 7 does not exist, the while loop will terminate and our CNT will be equals to 2, which is the length of our current sequence. Once the while loop gets completed, we are going to update the longest variable. Longest is the maximum long sequence. The longest variable, initialize a variable to store the maximum consecutive sequence there. So we are going to update the value of longest equal to max longest comma CNT. It simply means if CNT, that is the length of our current sequence, is greater than longest, then our longest will be initialized to CNT. Otherwise, our longest is going to be longest. So that is why longest equal to max of longest comma CNT. Once this entire loop gets terminated, what we are going to do, we will return the longest variable. In the longest is our result representing the length of the longest consecutive sequence. So I hope the question is clear to you all. The question was pretty simple. I hope it is clear. Keep learning. If the question is clear, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends. Thank you.